Right now, let's get to Buck. He's got our Stockwatch prepared.
Well, this has been bandied about quite a bit, but let's hear first from Duke head coach John Schyer.
Oh, God.
I'm more concerned about the well-being of our guys. Flip sprains his ankle. When are we going to ban court storming? When are we going to ban that? How many times does a player have to get into something where they get punched or they get pushed or they get taunted right in their face? And it's a dangerous thing. You look around the country and Caitlin Clark, something happens. And now Flip, I don't know what his status is going to be. He sprains his ankle. And it's one thing, when I played, at least it was 10 seconds in the court, you would storm the court. Now it's the buzzer doesn't even go off and they're running on the floor. And this has happened to us a bunch this year. It's part of it. We need to be better. We need to learn from this. That needs to stop.
All right, well, aside from John Schyer being a whiny bitch,
Well, imagine if it were Coach K.
We've discussed whether we think this should continue or not, whether it should be outlawed or not. You and I think it's fine going on until something bad happens. Now that we know that there's a meeting happening about this, buy or sell that we will see new rules put into place for court storming before the end of the season.
Buy. They're already saying they're going to meet tomorrow. All the commissioners are getting together tomorrow.
So what do you think they will ban it across all power conferences, or what do you think they're going to do?
Man, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm going to buy your stock. First of all, Coach K. If that were Coach K, it would have been 10 times what Schyer just said.
It would have been more scathing and shame on you. And
oh yes, we're the worst. And like you said,
what is wrong with us today?
The piousness that would have come from Coach K. But I don't know. There's a lot of holes you can tear in his argument there. Okay, so he said, I jotted down little notes as he was talking. That little clip. He said, when I played, it was 10 seconds. What is he?
What?
What is he talking about?
I had the same reaction. There might have been a time where they said no one on the court until 10 seconds after the game, but I don't ever remember that being a thing.
Well, if that's the case and that worked,
then do that.
Do that. I mean, what are we even arguing about then? I don't think that's right. I don't know what he's talking about. I think he's full of crap, trying to just help his argument, like most of the people on the text line. But if that's a thing, then do that. Jeez. Second, he said punched, pushed, taunted. You might get taunted. It's
sports,
fine.
Dude,
You're a big boy.
To.
You just got beat.
You play for Duke. You don't think you're going to get trolled a little bit?
Punched and pushed. Okay, punched has never happened. Not one time.
When was the last Duke player you saw punched in a game?
Not one time has that happened. But okay, if you think that society is just degrading to the point where all of a sudden everybody's going to start throwing haymakers, okay, live in fear, whatever. Pushed, Caitlin Clark got pushed.
Kind of.
A little bit.
Yeah.
She flopped. She was fine.
She got run into, basically.
This guy, Filipowski, he got kind of pushed, but he shoved the kid down. He shoved the kid down, and he had every right to do that. So he totally is over. I get it. It's his player, and he's trying to protect his players. But good grief, man. I just think we are totally over inflating the amount of damage that's done during court storming. It happens all the time, court storming, and there's never any issues. Until this year, you had 2 minor incidents.
Yeah, this text says, since when did Duke become so soft? Might be getting taunted? WTF are we even doing here?
Good grief.
I do think this is one of the more measured texts of the day. It says, hey guys, regarding court storming, I think what people are responding to is we've become a society about foreseeability with respect to liability.
Yeah.
And at some point, I think their thinking is that some player is going to have their NBA career ruined by being collided with by a fan. I don't know where I stand on it, but I think that's where people's perception's coming from.
Okay, maybe.
I do think that's part of it, but again, hasn't happened yet. Let's move on. Not too far from college, NBA analyst Charles Barkley, he doesn't think college kids should be coming out as early.
Well, I wish a lot of these kids would learn their lesson. And just because your family and friends are freeloaders and trying to get to your bank account, you don't have to leave school early.
Well, he left high school.
That's still wrong.
Crazy.
That's
only youngest guy in the league. He's only 19 years old.
But I'm understanding. A lot of these guys, I tell them, man, go to college for a year or two, get in a stable environment, get some good coaching. But everybody's in a hurry to get to the money. And a lot of times, you're not ready.
Yeah.
You're just not ready mentally or physically. Like I say, go to college for a year or two. I think that would really help their development.
So that's Charles Barkley. Buy or sell that we need to force longer periods of development before players come to the NBA?
Meaning
either staying in college longer
Baseball.
or at an academy like the European ones that the international players go to.
well, update me on the status of the age limit thing. Like, 'cause they
Right
keep-
now, you just have to be. My belief is you just have to be a year removed from high school, so you can basically, if you go to you can go right from high school to a G League Ignite, or you could go right from high school to Europe, or you could go do a year of college. But basically, you just have to be a year removed from high school and you can go.
I thought it was 18. That was a number.
Is it 18?
Maybe I'm wrong.
I thought that you had to be a high school. I thought you had to be removed. At least American players had to be removed a year from high school
So
play.
you're-
I thought.
You're asking, do you want more regulation with regard to how a player can go about their career?
Basically, don't
No.
let players in the NBA as early. Buy or sell,
Well-
we should not be letting them in as early. Force a little bit more development, either in
No.
college or in an academy.
Well, I mean, you could go the baseball model. You go the baseball model, you're doing both. You're saying you can go straight to the league from high school, or if you go to college, you have to go for 3 years. That's what baseball does. I don't know. I used to think this was a bigger problem, but I don't think it's that big of a problem anymore, in a sense that I think you should just let kids do whatever the hell they want to do.
I
It's
think
their
so.
life, their career.
in general, I agree with that sentiment. I think that this is coming from a place where people think that the talent in the NBA has gotten watered down,
I know.
and that the basketball playing isn't as good. You're getting these super athletes out there, but across the board, you don't have the quality of play.
I get
it.
Look, I want the NBA to be better. I have long pointed out the flaws of the NBA. But if I listed all of the flaws of the NBA, and there are many that make it a product that, I don't know, it's just not all that interesting. I think it just could be way more interesting than it is. That is kind of down the list now. I would have said maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever, that's a bigger problem. That's really an issue for the NBA. I mean, I think what you're saying is like too many young kids, and they're just too raw.
Well, and that the next generation just isn't good enough.
Nah, I don't know about that. I just think I don't think we should legislate what guys can and can't do with their own lives and careers just to make the league better. I get that you can do that, but I don't think that's the main problem with the NBA. I think it's actually way down the list. So I'd be for the baseball model is interesting, but I'd be for just letting them. Hey, if you can play, you can play, man. How old's Wemby?
That's who they were talking about in that clip. I think he's 19.
How old? So he's 19. Okay. Yeah.
All right, moving on to the NFL. Our old buddy Russell Wilson went on Brandon Marshall's podcast.
Dangerous.
Mr. Unlimited.
And he had this to say about what he wants for the rest of his career.
I got more fire than ever, honestly, especially over the past 2 years of what I've gone through. Whether if it's in Denver or somewhere else, I hope it's in Denver. I hope I get to finish there. I committed there. I wanted to be there. I want to be there. For me, it's about winning. Over the next 5 years, I want to win 2. I want to feel the chill of that trophy again. Yeah. I love the city and everything else, but you also want to be a place that wants you too. So the thing that I want to do is win, man. That's all I care about.
So a couple things in that little clip there, but the most notable, Russ wants to win 2 more Super Bowls in the next 5 years. Buy or sell that Russ could win even 1 Super Bowl with the right team.
I don't think so, Guy. I don't think he's got that. I don't know. I mean, I feel like Sean Payton made him a little bit better. He kind of shaved off some edges that were bad under what's his nuts. Who's a guy they fired?
Hackett.
Hackett.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Couldn't hack it.
Could not.
Yeah, he was better under Sean Payton, but there's a reason why they're moving off of him. And it's that Sean Payton doesn't think he can win a Super Bowl with him. And they're going to move off of him. And that, I trust Sean Payton's judgment there. I just think Russell Wilson is he's kind of cooked. He's not what he used to be. I think he's still very smart, capable quarterback. I think if he's a starter for, say, the Raiders or even maybe the Steelers, they could knock some people off. But I just ultimately winning the whole thing, no, I don't think that's going to happen.
I tend to be with you on that one. I just haven't seen it in the last couple of years, and not sure that he'll be able to land in a spot where it's doable for him. And then finally,
Yes.
A.J. Brown has seen his name bandied about and drugged through the mud a little bit in Philly, whether he's a problem guy or creating issues in the locker room. Well, he had about enough, so he just decided to call into Philly station WIP himself today. And here's a short clip. He went on for 4 or 5 minutes, but here's part of what he had to say.
Dear.
I'm misunderstood. I'm not even trying to be understood by people because you're not going to understand me because you're not in my shoes. So yeah, I honestly, yeah.
But you do realize, real quick, AJ, I don't want to cut you off, but you realize people do want to understand you. Like, they do want to understand you. They do want to understand.
I don't think so. I'm human. I may not do it the best way every single time, but that's who I am. That's who I'm forever going to be until I'm 6 feet under the ground. That's who I am. I'm not going to change who I am. So if you don't like it, you just don't like it, because you might as well get in line with the rest of the people. And I'm not just talking about you guys. I'm talking about the media and whoever else. Like, I'm my own person, and I'm not afraid to speak up. And that's what I think it scares a lot of people, because like today, like I had the balls to get on your show today. Like I know my worth and I know what I bring to the table.
Buy or sell that trying to control your own narrative by calling into the local show is a good way to go.
Sell. What is he talking about even?
People have been complaining that he's like a locker room cancer and that he's creating issues within the locker room, that he was calling out guys. There's basically been a lot of rumors about him being an issue with that Eagles team and kind of at the focal point of a lot of their problems. It's been on every radio station there. And basically today he just called up and said, like, I might be a guy who pushes people, but like I'm a team guy and I'm a guy who's helping the team win.
Okay, well, I don't know. Had we heard much of this about him before this season?
Not before this season, no.
Yeah.
It was more midway through the season it started.
Yeah, and then it was weird in the playoffs too. Like there was some weird stuff going on in Philly for sure.
Yes.
And so it's hard to know what he's actually like. At the same time, to your point, no, sell. God, your idea is to call up the local sports radio station and say, well, you just need to trust that.
Well, and part of it was that people are saying he doesn't want to be here. And he's like, you cannot say that. You don't know that. I do want to be here, and I play hard.
He's doing some damage control there.
Yeah.
Because he did say, I thought he did say that. Or at least towards the end. Like, he didn't even play in the playoff game, right?
I don't recall.
I thought they benched him or something weird happened. And
did he get banged up? I don't remember.
They probably said he got banged up, but
yeah, maybe.
it was a whole weird thing. Look, I don't know. It sounds to me like he's just trying to, sort of cover his tracks for the things that he stuck his own foot in his mouth for saying. And the last place you want to do that is WIP in Philly. God. But probably good ratings for them.
I'd imagine.
By the way, somebody mentioning AAU culture, 100%.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the age limit for NBA or for high school kids or young kids going to the NBA, watering down the product a little bit, too young, too raw. 100% this text is correct that the AAU culture is a way bigger culprit than actual age.
Yeah.
Like, you look at some of the young European players, get a lot more just a lot more team skills and are ready to play maybe younger than, not that they're not raw, than American players because of the AAU thing. So again, it's not the individual players and age.
Yeah.
I think it's just the system that they're coming up in, and it's just the whole model. I've always said this about basketball. Part of the NBA's problem is the whole model from the second from the second parents and coaches figure out a young kid can play, and you guys know this with kids out there in the system, that can be as young as 6th grade.
Yep.
Or whatever. The second they figure out a kid can play, the whole model from there on through is really, really, really warped.
Yes.
It's not good, and it hurts the NBA.
Well, Suk and I talked a little bit about this the day that you were off last week, I guess Tuesday, because Adam Silver over the All-Star break had essentially admitted to saying that our development here in the U.S. for our young players is not good enough. We're seeing guys come over from Europe who are not ready, but way closer to ready. Giannis,
yeah,
Luka, Wemby, And then you're seeing guys here who are taking way longer. And he says, they practice more over there. We play more games and do more showcases here. And he was a proponent of trying to start academies for basketball here in the U.S. a little bit younger, because guys are just going all around the country on these AAU type tours, and it's all about exposure and an individual flex. And there's not a whole lot of basketball being learned.
Right. That's kind of what it is. I mean, I've talked to some people in that circuit that lament how bad the coaching is. Like, they're just not great coaches. All they're doing is just
stacking teams with names.
That's right.
And then signing up for the best tournaments and where the most scouts are going to be. And
they're getting their hands on the best players.
They're promising eyeballs on your kid, which they can do.
And they're passing them the ball and say score 50, 40, 30, and that's no good. And so at least Adam Silver recognizes. I think Adam Silver's smart. I think if he recognizes that and he's not in denial about that, then maybe some good things can happen at the grassroots level on that. Help the NBA in the end. Stockwatch each Monday brought to you by Goldberg Jones. When it comes to divorce, custody, or child support issues, trust Goldberg Jones to help. Call 1-800-DIVORCE.